People have looked towards you as the guy to take them out of the desert and into the promised land. This is the worst violated section in the United States where people's property have been terrorized, where you got red tag terrorism, the property pirates are hitting us. And
I will say that it's been confirmed by people who live outside this area to me that the problems in Santa Cruz County with the Planning and Building Department are well known at least throughout the state of California.
If not the United States.
I don't know about that.
Well, it's been said by those in the know that this is the worst hit community in the country. For 20 years, the board has been put together and there has never been a meeting. How do you account for that?
Actually, the state created building appeals boards in 1976. I think that's 33 years. And as far as I know, from what I'm told, is that it met briefly during a period in 1980s with regard to a local disaster called the Love Creek landslide or mudslide, where 10 people died, and as a result, there was the county prevented the owners of the properties from rebuilding in any shape or form on those properties.
That was a meeting in the 80s, and this is 2009. My God, the people have had no voice since then, no chance, no opportunity, it's unconstitutional, it's un-American, as people say.
Well, the way I would put it is that there's Santa Cruz County is well known for statewide, nationwide, and worldwide for some exceptional characteristics, and maybe this is one of them. The County of Santa Cruz has had some type of long-standing problem with dysfunction within the staff for years and years.
You're talking about Susan and the people from the University of Chicago?
The county administrative officer, Susan Murillo. She's the county administrative officer, and she's the direct supervisor of all the department heads in the county government organization.
The people who come from this group, which are training city managers to control the country.
I have no idea about that.
Well,
I don't know what group you're talking about.
Well, you'll find out. You've heard of Agenda 21?
I have.
There's a fellow named Shaw out here, Michael Shaw, who's
I've heard of him.
Been lecturing on this.
I've never met him.
Our movie is about Agenda 21. It's about the property pirates. There has been a transference of property from...
Then you're talking about an issue concerning due process and property rights, am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'm aware of a controversy in that area, yes.
You're a tall, rather handsome-looking guy, and...
don't tell my wife.
Don't tell your wife. Well, I think she already got the message. People have been saying that in the meeting last night that you really took charge, and I guess that's what you're supposed to do, is head of this board, right?
That is what I'm supposed to do, although I will admit that I'm a very opinionated individual, and I've been putting in hundreds of hours of research and study on state law and state regulations and the building standards codes and county codes and their relationship with regard to this board.
Well, there is something that supersedes that whole thing. It's called the United States Constitution.
That's part of the whole thing, yes.
It is part of the whole thing.
Absolutely sits at the top of the federal pyramid, that's correct.
In various socialist countries, in Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union, they really took over the property. And people have been talking about the People's Republic of Santa Cruz and just how far out they are.
As far as I'm concerned, my own personal situation is I'm a moderate liberal, born and raised in Santa Cruz, and I have some of the same value systems as great number of local citizens. Santa Cruz is a highly politicized community. There's certainly a lot of things about having citizens involved in politics that is good. Living in Santa Cruz today has problems that range from homelessness, drug addiction, education of children, to dealing with the fallout from 3 local forest fires that came through Santa Cruz County last year and burned families from their homes.
Well,
and
speaking of those forest fires, right after people wanted to rebuild their homes, and they were getting red tagged and they were getting squeezed out of the homes that they built. Yes, they might have been out of code, but it seems to be the most over-regulated county. It seems like somebody is behind this, behind the scenes.
Well, I can give you some background, and that because I've been a lifelong resident here, and frankly, I share. There's a lot of local values that I share, including concern for the environment. But mainly the intent of my purpose on the board is to be of service to people, not necessarily the government, but the people and their right to petition government, in this case for this appeals board. And they've moderated in all the cities to be reasonable in their application of the law and their interpretation, and with the exception of the county of Santa Cruz.
Well, they haven't been reasonable, but they've been outrageously unreasonable and very dictatorial.
And again, as a result of forest fires last year, and I believe that there was increased amount of attention put on the issues, and tension increased in the controversy to the point where people were coming to the Board of Supervisors on a weekly basis and expressing their dislike and objections.
People are claiming to be financially raped and robbed. They can't get building permits to put up property on land that they've owned for years. They can't get permits to change anything or put in a water heater. It's very, very, very dictatorial. It's almost Hitlerian.
When I was appointed, I had no idea of the extent of the complaints that were being voiced to the Board of Supervisors.
By your past actions since 2001 of hiding and obstructing the appeals boards, you're all in conflict of interest. All of you need to recuse yourselves today.
It made me curious. I'm not going to take anybody's word for it, so I figured that while I was waiting for an appointment to come through, I would wade through the research, and the farther I got in my research regarding fundamental statutes at state law regarding the building and fire code appeals process, the more concerned I became and the more I dug.
They're talking about you as the representative of the people.
Well, I get dirty every day, crawling under houses and in attics and doing work with my hands, and I'm proud of what I do. In the county's staff system, there seems to be a culture that encourages and tolerates abuse of the citizens and the rights of people in Santa Cruz.
Dan Bronson has in real life begun to do what Charlie Bronson only pretended to do in film: protect the people, the property, and the freedom of the United States of America.